Hello, everyone. I think we'll get started on time. So welcome to Datathon. I am so excited to be here. This is actually my first time at Datathon. Is anybody here for the first time as well? Can you raise your hand? Okay, lots of people, great. So we're having this experience together. And my name is Olga. I'm the solution engineer at Tableau. So I'm actually based in Germany, but most of my colleagues are in the UK, like GP. So we traveled all the way here for Datathon because it's a very exciting event. And I've been at Tableau for 3 years, and I haven't seen anything like it anywhere in the world. And I cover 3 regions in the world. So trust me, this is the once in a lifetime experience. So at the workshop today, I'll guide you through Tableau. We'll take a little tour around Tableau Desktop. This is what you're going to be using to analyze data and build your visualizations. We'll create some of the charts in Tableau, some of the basic charts, as well as a tiny bit more advanced ones. I'll show you around calculations. How do you create calculations? How do you create dual axis charts, filter, sort your data? And of course, how do you format it all and make it a very pretty and functional experience for the user? And finally, we'll talk about how you can build the right visualization, how you can pick the right visualization type. What are some of the best practices? So on the day of Datathon, you can actually use all of those, all that knowledge applied in practice. Now, I already introduced myself, but just to give you a little bit of context of what I actually do at Tableau. So I work with lots of customers around the world. I support Middle East, as well as CIS, so Commonwealth of Independent States, and Eastern Europe as well. So I travel a bunch, and I love speaking at conferences, at events as well. We just had our Tableau conference, which is the biggest Tableau event of the year in San Diego, California. And these 2 top pictures are from there. So I had 2 sessions, one around creating data products, so monetizing your data, and another one around the analyst pain points and how Tableau can solve it. And a couple of other pictures here. So this is one from a conference in Berlin where I was giving product demos. Does this one work as well? Let's see. Oh, perfect. It's even better. So giving demos, and the other one is actually from my time with Gulf Bank. So I visited Gulf Bank, of course, before, a couple of times. And this one is from a workshop with one of the teams at Gulf Bank. If you're following along today, please make sure that you have Tableau Desktop installed. If you do not, this is where you can get Tableau Desktop. Download the latest version, because it will have the most features, of course. So if you go to tableau.com, support releases, there will be a button to download Tableau Desktop. This is the prerequisite to follow along today. If you have your laptop with you and would like to recreate all of the steps, because I'll be working on the data that is already there in desktop as sample data, so you don't have to download anything else, just the application itself, which you will, of course, need for the Datathon. So I'll give you a moment to just go to that link if you haven't already. And it will take you right to our website. Once you download it and open it up, it will ask you to start a free trial. for 14 days, which you just have to fill out a couple of fields there with your name, your information, and then you can start using Tableau Desktop. So 2 steps, right? If you want to follow along, download the Tableau Desktop application and start the trial. Can I check who here has already done so and already has desktop installed? Anyone? Okay. Okay, perfect. Few people. And is anybody currently downloading it and installing? All right, cool. I'll give you a moment to do that.
If we are looking online, you will use the website.
The website, yes, desktop would be better. You'll have more options for visualization, for formatting. A public was the desktop application, you mean, right? Yes, it should still have the data, yes. All right. I'm going to slowly start touring the, oh, question? 2 minutes, yes, of course.
Somebody asked one question about Tableau. Who had a question about Tableau? Why is Tableau the coolest tool ever?
Because we help people see and understand data. And that's been our mission from the start. So we were never an, let's say, IT-focused product. We were always focused on our community and on the value that it brings to the business, to the people. And I think the testament to why people love Tableau, if you go on Tableau Public, that is our free resource with a ton of dashboards. I think it has about 9 million visualizations at this point, and over 3 million authors. So people create things in Tableau in their free time. They use music data on social events, anything and everything. And Tableau is their hobby. So I don't think any other tool can say that. Can show, yes, this year. So actually the copies. Exactly. So the copies of the newspaper, if you got one, this is straight from San Diego. I brought it in my suitcase with me. And it has lots of information about this year's Iron Biz. This is the ultimate competition of Tableau visionaries, masters, right? It has some info about San Diego, which maybe is not so relevant, but also lots of stuff about our latest innovations, like Copilot, and some of the dashboards as well.
Can I call it the Datathon of Tableau?
I guess you can, yes.
Iron Biz is one of the biggest competitions that Tableau do. Do you do it every year?
Yes, absolutely. At Tableau conference every year. Yeah, so this is actually one of the dashboards from the Iron Biz of this year.
And what's the price for Iron Biz?
It was $10,000 for the first prize.
Amazing.
And a donation, I think it's $5,000 donation to a charity of your choice. It's a double prize. So this one, for example, this year it was all about movies. So data about movies from IMDb. And this one is just like a TV, right? So the one of the contestants used the TV frame and tried to tell a story about representation of women in movies. Yes, over the years. So you can see the share of women to in all of the series or the movies throughout the years, throughout the decades. And then if you click on one of the buttons here, you can see it per genre, for comedy, for drama, for action. And finally, this one allows you to select a specific movie or specific series, and then gives you some of the info around how many evenings it will take you to watch it all. So that's actually very useful, right? Sometimes you really want something you can finish in one evening. How many awards it won, what's the total rating, right? And then this one, I think, is an action button that takes you to the IMDb website for that specific series that you selected. So I think, yeah, exactly. So it's all within Tableau.
The winner?
No, this was one of the contestants, the winner. Let me see if I can pull it up. This one was the winner, the IMDb Explorer. Yeah, so each year is a different theme of a data set. So this year it was movies. So here, it allows you to explore the whole database, basically, of all the movies. And then I think if you select one, like Game of Thrones, my resolution is a bit off, just noticing here. All good? Yeah, perfect. Let me go back. And we'll end up on public anyways at the end, so we'll see more of goodness that there is on public. So once you open Tableau, hopefully you have it by now, you will actually not end up here just yet. You will end up over here. So this is the home screen that you see when you open Tableau Desktop. And we have here 3 different sections. So we've got the connect to data on the either connect to a flat file, so it could be an Excel, text file, that would be the CSV file, JSON, PDF, spatial files, statistical files, and more. And also we have a ton of connectors to different databases, warehouses, data lakehouses, and so on. But today, we're going to be using a sample data set that's already in desktop. It's called Sample EU Superstore. We have a couple of others here, which is the US Superstore and World Indicators, as well as the hurricane data. So this is just sample data that allows you to play around with Tableau and yeah, just practice, learn how to work with it. Over here, you probably won't have a lot of visualizations because you haven't started with it yet. I have some of the recent ones that I've been working on. And we also have the accelerators here, which allow you to jumpstart to your analysis. And finally, the Discover pane, which my resolution is a bit off, so there we go. So here you can find some of the videos on how to get started, some resources on the Tableau Prep, that's our ETL tool, accelerators, community forums. And if you need to update to the newest version, just like me, it will also tell you. Now, for today, simply click on the Sample EU Superstore, and you'll end up in the interface just like this. So that is the start. Yes? That's okay. If you don't have the EU Superstore, just use the Sample Superstore. It works as well. They're just different in terms of geographies. You will have the data from the US, but that's also fine. All of the data will be on the left side. So before we start building anything, what I would like to do for you to do is to click on the Data Source tab in the bottom left corner. Just to explain a little bit how data modeling works in Tableau. You will already have a data model built with 3 different tables. So we've got the orders table, which is the main one. the fact table, and we've got two-dimension tables, people and returns. These little noodles are called relationships, and essentially they designate a field which connects the two tables. Here it's the region, for example, and here would be the order ID. So this is how you connect the different tables to each other. And anytime you connect to data, a very good thing to do would be to make sure that all the fields have the right data type. And we have different data types from string. So this is the text. Just like here, we have dates, we've got numbers, we have geofields. So this is the little globe icon. We've got where are my numbers? Here we go. The green ones would be numbers with the hashtag sign. And you might have some other ones like groups, which is not data type, but it's a functionality of Tableau. But make sure that all the fields have the right data type. You don't have to do it for the sample data set because everything is already correct. But for the future, it's always a good thing to make sure. And if it's wrong, then you can change it easily by clicking once and maybe change it to string or to number or to date or date and time. All of your tables will be right here. So if you need to bring in anything else, you can just simply drag and drop. Again, everything for today is already here. We're not going to be doing a lot of data modeling. What we're going to be doing is data visualization. So if you need to add anything in the future in Tableau, feel free to just drag and drop and create a new relationship, either to the fact table or to the dimension table. Perfect. So after you've done so, we can start with building our visualizations. And here in this data set, you will see couple of interesting things. So we have some hierarchies for location. We have a hierarchy for product, which is something you can build in Tableau to drill down into things. And we also have some bins, some sets, and the groups as well. So all of this can be built in new data sets. And one thing you'll notice straight away is that the data is separated. So you can see the separator right here between the dimensions and the measures. So dimensions are things like customer name or order date. So it can be numerical, it can be text, but these are the things you cannot aggregate, right? You cannot sum it up. You cannot retrieve the minimum of. Those are dimensions, and they're always designated with the blue color. These things over here are measures. So you can aggregate them, you can retrieve an average, and so on. And if something just accidentally ends up in the measures or dimensions by mistake, you can easily change that by dragging it onto the right. So you see discount becomes a dimension. Or we can move it back into the measures because it is in fact a measure. So this is how you can easily make sure all the data is of the right type and correctly placed. So by now you should be connected, right, to data source, whether it's EU Superstore or Sample Superstore, doesn't matter. And the first thing we're gonna do, well, let me actually show you quickly what we'll build today. So going into presentation mode again. So this is a quick dashboard we're gonna build. I'll show you a few more formatting options afterwards. So we'll build bar charts, maps, scatter plots, line charts, and tables. Not everything will end up on the dashboard because we don't want to overcrowd our dashboard. We'll add some icons as well with the hover actions and some filters as well. And to make sure that it's all interactive, so if I select any part of it, it will update to show me my selection. Now, how do we start? So to start with my bar chart, I lost my menu here. Of course, yeah. No problem. We'll take a few minutes to make sure everybody has downloaded Tableau Desktop successfully. and is connected to Wi-Fi and is ready to go.
If you need to connect to Wi-Fi, it's Cultural Center Guest, and the password is 2024-2025. Let us know if you need help connecting to Wi-Fi. We'll come to you. 2024-2025. All numbers, 2024-2025. Should have made sure everyone has that. We were all struggling quietly. No, we just yeah. Tableau jetzt.
start with product team.
So he has, it says recently.
I think I should be
It's under here. It's included with desktop. Download it and start free trial. Yeah.
Can you display the link for them and where they can download it?
So I'm going to upload the data to the link that they can download it from. That might be easier than doing a trial gift for everybody.
For example, she's not able to activate because it's saying that she used it already.
Well, then she can download the public edition. Tableau
Then user data
desktop
set.
public, yeah.
Everyone's on.
So for anyone who's struggling with finding the data, if you don't have the data, that's probably because you downloaded the desktop public edition, which simply does not have the same sample data sets. So what I'm going to do now is upload the data onto the link where you can get it from. So if you have the desktop public edition, then you can download it and follow along. And if you're struggling with installing desktop and getting the key, like to activate it, then please do let us know. So you can just raise your hand if you have that problem.
That's exactly what that's why I'm doing it. Just for people that probably downloaded it, now it's telling them you cannot. Just
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's usually something that we ask them to do either before the workshop or before the date's done, so when they start. Yes, desktop. No, the desktop. Basically.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Yeah.
يلا بس my connection is not.
Mine is not connecting.
I have to port to detect. I need to be on a bus.
Same for me. Try other methods.
كلنا في كلية العالم
إلا ما يكون.
أنا my phone is serious. I don't know why it's not.
Is your hotspot working? Mine is not. For some reason. So I think you're up. Thank you. حلو هذا.
ما مشتري. عندك That's is mine.
هو اسف بس
اه ايه بلا شفته خذني وين
اوكي
connected to this hotspot. Are you connected to something?
I'm still on the cultural center guest.
Okay, I'm in.
Good.
This hotspot working here.
Yeah.
No, it's on the data. It's really accessible.
Yeah, thank you. Anna, I'm good, but I don't think all guys did.
No, my friend's working. I'm just trying to
Ah,
give them the data.
Okay.
Free. Really accessible. Just trying to shorten the link.
Yeah.
اوكي عايز نقول شلون بس كذا عشان ينفذ بعدين بحكي شو بس الشغلة نشيل مع الدنيا اتليست فيها Yes, I do.
All right. So for anyone who's struggling with getting to data, it was actually published at some point on GitHub, so anybody can get to it. The link is right there on the screen. So rb.gy/2egwz0. So that is if you don't have access to any Superstore datasets yet. Once you get to this page, you can simply come here and click download. And it will download an Excel file, which you can use then your public edition to connect to. So I'll bring up the link again.
And add the key. إذا في عالم they already had done the trial. I'm giving another one عايز تدخل
And for anyone who has Tableau desktop but doesn't have a key, struggling to connect to key, I'm going to quickly paste this key.
who tried to activate the trial and it said you already activated my X. Okay.
If you have a trial, you're good, you're all set. If you have already used the trial, if you had a problem with activating desktop, then you can get this key. So then you already have the data. If you have Tableau Desktop Public Edition up and running, ready to go, but don't have the data, you can get the data from here. No.
Able to download the data. It's not, there isn't anything to download. Let's try. Could I ask everyone who's ready to get started, raise your hand, please. If you have desktop ready to go, okay? Okay. Guess we'll get started with the first step in the interest of time. All right.
I know.
So once you are in, hopefully, have the key, have the data. If you downloaded the data as an Excel file, the first thing you'll want to do is to connect to data. And that will be done from the interface right here. So if you're not connected to data, if you don't have this in the saved data sources, then what you'll want to do is to connect to Microsoft Excel and then find that file on your computer, right, and get connected. I'm just gonna pull up a file here just to show you an example, what you'll see. So you'll end up over here if you're connecting to data from scratch. And what you'll want to do is just to drag the table orders from the left side onto the right. All right. And then the other two people onto the right as well as returns. It will automatically map them, so you don't have to do anything extra to connect them together, and you'll be ready to go. So this is if you're connecting to data from scratch. If you have desktop and connected to that pre-saved data source, nothing else needs to be done. You should be in this interface already. So depending on how you connected to the data, whether it was from pre-saved data sources or from Excel, it might look slightly different. That's okay. And also depending on which version of the Superstore you're using, EU or the US, it might have slightly different fields, but that's also okay. So here I have, for example, state, province, country, region. In the US version, there would be a state. So if it's slightly different, that's absolutely fine. The main fields are the same. And what we're looking at here, this is actually sales data for a store called Superstore that sells lots of different things, mostly furniture, technology, and supplies. And we have here geographical data, so around where we're selling our products. We have the product data on the product categories, subcategories, all the way to the name of each product, and also the segments, plus profitability, sales, discount, and quantity as measures. To get started, let's build our first chart. So I'm going to take the category field over here, press on it, and just drag it all the way to the rows, just like that. You will notice a little plus icon next to it. If you don't notice it in your data set, that is okay. It's called hierarchy. So you can drill down all the way from the top to the bottom, so from category to the product name. And to create it in Tableau, it's actually super easy. So if you don't have it already in the data, you can simply drag one field on top of the other and create a hierarchy. Or if you already have it in the data set, perfect. You can already get started. So if I drill down, you can see that we have some subcategories. For furniture, it's bookcases, chairs, furnishings, tables, lots of office supplies, and also some technological products. Now, what I want to see first is what are we selling the most? So I'm going to take the sales field over here and just drag it all the way to the columns. And Tableau builds a bar chart for me, which is, by the way, a very good choice for a lot of different use cases. Bar charts are awesome. They really communicate the message well in a lot of cases. And here I can already see some of my top selling subcategories: bookcases, appliances, storage, copiers, phones. But really what matters to me is not just the sales data, but also the profitability. So am I making money if I'm selling each of these products? So instead of making it a simple bar chart, I'm going to add profit to it as well. Again, dragging and dropping it to color. So drop it onto color, take the profit, and just drag it over onto color. Right? So one thing jumps out at me straight away. That is my tables. We are not making money when we're selling tables. Of course, for a sales manager, for a product manager, it would be a very worrying sign for me. So this is something I would definitely want to communicate, right? And you can see that we're actually selling relatively well, but the profit is just not there. And Tableau picks the colors based on the type of data that you're working with. And the default color scheme would be this blue and orange, but you can change it easily. So if you prefer another color, you can already at this point be a little bit creative and just go into colors. So I'm showing it again, click on color, edit color. And you can pick any of the default color palettes. So we have here the red-green, the green-blue, red-black, and you can even add custom color palettes. I'll show you a little bit later on how to add your own colors if you want to be really creative. But for now, you can pick one of the default ones or just stay with the blue and orange. This is a really great color palette for colorblind people. So it makes it accessible, right? Because not all colors are well perceived, right? So for accessibility purposes, this is a pretty good choice. And you have your first bar chart. So this is the very first thing we're going to build today. One last thing I'm going to do is to sort this from top to bottom. So from the highest selling products to the lowest. And I can do it in a couple of ways. So one way would be to go over here in this menu up top. And we can sort by descending or by ascending with a single click. So if I go ahead and just click here, you'll see that it sorts all of your data for each of the sections, right? You can do the same with a click over here. So it will change the sorting. Perfect. Who was able to build a bar chart? Could you raise your hand if you were able to? Anybody? Perfect. Very good. Very good. That is the basics, but it's a good way to start. Now, the next thing we're going to do, so do not erase your bar chart, by the way. Simply click on this icon, create new worksheet. So it's going to be right next to your first worksheet, and it will just create a blank one for you. So you can create your second chart. Each visualization would be in a separate worksheet, and then you connect all of them into a dashboard if you want. So just click on create new worksheet, and I'll go back to mine over here. And next thing we're going to do is to create a map. Tableau has really great geospatial capabilities. Yes? Question? Second. Yes, so to rename a worksheet, you probably have it named as sheet 1 right now. You just double click on the name of the sheet over here, and you can give it whatever name you want. Doesn't have to be bar chart. Yes? Again? At home? Yes. Ad hoc? Oh. You mean over here? So if you do it over here, this basically gives it a title that you put on the worksheet, but it will still keep it as sheet 1 over here. So this is if you want something different, like my chart. So you see how it changed it over here, but the sheet name still stayed the same. And if you're wondering how I did these colors, the blue or yellow, I think I have some. These are probably completely useless for your purposes right now, but for me, it helps me navigate my workbook a little bit better. So you can do it by right-clicking and then choosing a color. All right. No more questions. We're going to move on to our second viz, and it's going to be a map. So you should already have some fields in the data which are marked as geographical fields. It could be region, country, state, city, depending on the data set you have. whether it's Superstore EU or US. And all you have to do here, since they are already designated as geographic fields, just simply double click on the country or the state. If you have the US Superstore, then double click on the state. That's another way to start building a visualization. You don't have to drag and drop. You can also just double click and it will build a visualization for you. You can notice that Tableau generated longitude and latitude fields based on the names of the countries, based on the city names or state names, right? So all of this was automatically generated by Tableau. But sometimes you will have the specific longitude and latitude in the data, and that's possible. It's possible to use that in Tableau as well. But for today, we'll keep it simple. And here in the same way, so we have a hierarchy, which allows you to drill down from the region all the way to the city. So we can click on the plus sign and get to the state and province. If you don't have the hierarchy, it's very easy to create. You just find your state and then city field and other geographical fields you have, and just drag one on top of the other, and it will create the hierarchy. So kind of like this. And then you can create the similar location hierarchy. Right now, I see a circle for every single state. But what I want to see is there we go, back to Zoom. Sometimes you'll want to make it a bit more granular. So instead of the field provinces, you'll want to actually have some dots for each of the cities or each of the zip codes, right? So that's not the only kind of map we can create. The second one, if we take the sales and drag it onto the size, so next to color would be size. What you'll see here is a different kind of map. So for each of the provinces, we'll have this circle, which is sized by the sales numbers and colored by the profit. So depending on the use case, you might want to build different maps in Tableau. For our use case today, I'm going to actually remove sales. So to remove it, you can go one step back, so click undo over here, or you can just drag it away. So pick up sales and just drop it away. All right. And you've built your first map in Tableau. Any questions? Yes? Yep. Yes, absolutely. So you pick up sales, put it on size. On the marks card, there's size. And it should create circles like this. Can I run over and just... Anybody else struggling or have a question? Yes? So here, size means sales numbers. You can see on the right, the bigger the size of the circle, the bigger the sales numbers, that's the patient, and the color has to be black. The color for all. Yes, exactly.
Let's say one.
Yes, drag and drop will be the answer to a lot of things, actually. All right, let's move on to our scatter plots. That would be the third chart that goes on to our dashboard today. So the same deal, just click on the new worksheet button over here. And we're going to compare now two dimensions that we have, sales and profit, and see it on a more granular way. So we looked at the products, we looked at the locations, but what about the individual orders? Because here we have essentially the sales order data. So I want to see some of the orders that maybe were not as profitable for us as a store. So what I'm going to do is to actually select 3 fields. So it's going to be sales, it's going to be profit. If you're on a Mac, you can press the command button and select multiple fields, just like so. If you're on a, not on the Mac, I believe it's the control button that you'll need to, yes, control. So you select sales, profit, and also the order ID. So you should have 3 fields selected. And then you can use something called Show Me. This is your assistant, I should say, that has the most common viz types used in business scenarios. So, for example, we have here our bar charts, our tree maps, our Gantt views, or packed bubbles. So for today, I'm going to create a scatter plot, which is the one right over here. So if you have these 3 fields selected on the left, and again, you press Command or Control, and then select the order ID, profit, and sales. They should be selected like so. And click on the scatter plot. So it creates a visualization with a single click. And then to close it, you just click again, Show Me. So now what we're looking at is each circle represents one order. And we're comparing the sales and the profit. So I can already see which orders are not so profitable for us, but I don't understand yet why. So the question why is something we constantly ask at Tableau. So why is this number low? Why is this number high? We want to get to the bottom of things. So to understand that, I'm going to actually swap one of my measures. So instead of my sales, I'm going to take discount and just replace. So drag the discount field right on top of the sales, and it will simply swap the measure. If you accidentally added it next to your sales, no problem. You can just drag the sales away like this and keep the discount. And you might be noticing that something is happening with the discounts. We're getting some crazy numbers here. That is because they're getting aggregated. So what I want to do here is to click on the drop down next to discount and just take an average. Just like this. So for each order, we'll get the average discount instead of the sum. Now we'll be aggregating it to the average. And we have some other ones. We have the median, count distinct, min, max, standard deviations. So these are a bit more advanced scenarios, but for today, an average will do. And now we're seeing some very interesting discounts here for some of the orders. For a lot of them, we're given a 50% discount. But because it's under zero, the profit is under zero, we know that it's actually not profitable for us. So to make this point even more clear, I want to add profit to the color. So from the left side, drag the profit onto the color, and you'll get this nicely colored view of all of my orders, compare the discounts we give and the profits we get. And the most exciting part will come later when we connect all of this to our geographical locations, to our product categories, really to understand which of the orders and which of the products we're discounting a lot and therefore are losing money. So one bonus step I can show you here. To make it fully colored circles, I'm going to click on the marks card over here, the drop down, and select circle. It's up to you which one you prefer better, but I do want to show you different options because it allows you to be a bit more creative. So now we are ready with our 3 charts, actually. So we've got the bar chart, we've got the map, and we've got the scatter plot.
And you said zero distance to the point itself, but what the point of
Yes, very good question. The question is, what if my discount is not formatted like this, 10, 20%? What if it's 0.0 something, right? It could happen, of course, in the data, happens very often. What you want to do is to apply formatting to it. So to format any field, you just click on the drop down next to the field in the data. And in the default properties, there is a number format. So this is how you can change the formatting of any number. You can make it a percentage or a currency or just a standard custom number, whatever you want. And then it will keep that formatting for every single visualization. Yep, I'll repeat it again. So the drop down, default properties, and number format. Yep, no problem. Any other questions? So very good question. There is something called the analytics pane in Tableau, which has lots of exciting functionalities like constant lines, averages, box plots, forecasting, even clustering, and trend lines. So if you drag and drop a trend line, you can actually get it built. And if you hover over, you can see all of the details about it. So all of the values, the R-squared, the p-value, and you can add it as well. So changing the model type if you want. Yep, so it's the analytics pane over here. You see data and you see analytics. Click on analytics. And there is trend line. So drag and drop. And you can pick the linear for now. and it should build you a trend line. All right. Perfect. One other thing I want to show you is how to create calculations. So what if you don't have something in your data and you want to add it? Well, if you have ever worked with Excel formulas, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised because it's very similar, actually. To create a new calculated field, you will click on this drop down over here in the data and select Create Calculated Field. So you'll get this new window pop up, which maybe looks something like this or like this. The part on the right is the formula reference. So you can actually search for any formulas you want. So for dates, for example, I can see all the different formulas we have, or by different categories. Right? So to convert the data types or some spatial formulas or differences in dates. Lots of different options here. And of course, for example, if you want to calculate the profit ratio, so I'm going to name this field profit ratio, and then simply start typing. So if I type in the name of my field, sales, I want to always sum it up. So I'll type in sum and put my sales in brackets. And then maybe I want to divide it by my profit. So for this, I can also type profit, or I can just drag and drop again. And also add the sum to aggregate both. So once you're done, sum of sales divided by sum of profit, it will save your formula on the left side, and then you can reuse it for any other visualizations. So let me just double check. Of course, I got it wrong. It's profit by sales and not sales by profit. So I'm going to quickly swap it. But this is basically how you can calculate anything and save it in your data. So now you have a new field, profit ratio, that is created in the data source. And you can create all kinds of calculations. So for example, if you want to understand if a category of product is profitable or not, you can create something like this, which will give you two options, either profitable or unprofitable, right? And then you can use it as well in your analysis. So lots of options for calculations. Now, before we combine everything in our single dashboard, let me show you one more thing on how we create line charts and also make it dual axis. So how you can display two measures at the same time and show correlation between the two. So we'll take, again, our sales. So just drag it over here. And profit as well. So I'm going to drag it actually next to the sales. So you will have something like this with your two bars. And I'm going to take the date field we have, which is the order date. So put it onto columns, like so. Yes, exactly. So this is a new sheet. Yes, so take your sales, put it on rows, put the profit right next to it, and put the order date on the columns, just like this. And what I'm going to do now is to combine the two. So how do we have one visualization instead of two? Well, we have something called dual axis, which is simply in the drop-down menu. So if you click on your profit or whichever field you have second, there will be a dual axis option. So let's try that. Repeating it, yes. Drop down next to profit or sales and dual axis. You should have something like this. If the years are different, it's fine. And one thing that you might notice is that the axes actually don't match, right? So right now we have here sales going up to 1 million, the profit goes up to 120,000, which does not really help us understand the connection between the two. So what I'm going to do is to right-click on the right axis and click on synchronize axis. So again, we're doing right-click and then synchronize. So now you can see them, they are completely identical, right? So we can see where our profit actually is compared to sales. And if you want to maybe change it a little bit, instead of the line, we're going to change on the marks card for the sales. I'm going to create the bars. So you can combine different mark types in a single visualization. This one, I'm keeping it as a line, and this one as a bar. If you don't want to have two of these axes, completely understandable, you can hide them with, again, the right click and the show header option, just unclick it. So then you have only one because they match now. And you have this dual axis chart with two measures in the same visualization. It's good to use it when the scale matches more or less, because when it's too different, then it might look, and it's always good to synchronize it, right? So have too much of a discrepancy. So that is a bit more advanced in terms of what you can do with measures in Tableau. So yes, question? Yeah, absolutely. Let me go back a few steps. So you should be over here on the screen. Right click, synchronize axis. So right click on the axis, synchronize. Yeah. Yes. No, you don't have to play from the beginning. You can also do it from the start. If you were starting to build it, it just depends on the kind of put it in. Right? If you have a map there, for example, you have to rebuild it into a budget. If it's not a map, yeah, if you're already building something like this, you don't have to do it from the beginning. You can use what the sheet that you're currently on. So how about we combine it all into a dashboard now? You might have noticed next to the new worksheet, there is a button for new dashboard. So click on that, new dashboard. It will open a completely blank dashboard. And you will have all of your worksheets over here, so you can preview any of them by hovering over. And the approach of Tableau to create a dashboard is the same as analyzing data, drag and drop, right? So we're going to take our bar chart and just drag and drop it over here. So now you have it on your dashboard. Next, we'll take the map and do the same thing. So drag and drop. Now we have a map. And finally, the scatter plot. So I'm going to put it maybe somewhere here. So now you should have 3 of your visualizations all on the same dashboard. And to make it all interactive, because that's really what we want in Tableau to help users interact with our data, you can select each of the worksheets, and there will be a little button called Use as Filter. So just click on that. Do this with every single visualization that you've got. Don't worry if all the visualizations don't match what I have on the screen. So each of the worksheets, just use them as filter. I just click on this button. So what it does now, if I click on any single one of my marks, my bar chart, for example, you can see the map is filtering to that specific product. And the very interesting part here is that the tables are only profitable in the UK. So the rest of Europe, we're actually losing money. There's a lot of orange here, but in the UK, they are profitable. So there might be something interesting behind it. So as a business user, I might want to reach out to the UK team, right, and see what they're doing to boost their profits. The same thing I can do with my problematic orders. So on my scatter plot, if I select anything here, you can see actually which product categories we are discounting the most, right? So not surprisingly, tables, they are the problem. They have very high discounts. And that might be the reason why the UK team is successful in boosting their profits and others are not. High discount. So hopefully you have your 3 visualizations on the dashboard by now. Do we have any questions about how to combine it all together? Again? Yes. Yes. So I'll just do it from the beginning. New dashboard. Drag and drop the first worksheet, the bar chart, then the map. So this gray area shows you where it's going to place it on the dashboard. And then the last one as well. So I can put it anywhere, right? And then one more step I did, I just selected visualization and use as filter. So for each of them, I just click on it and then use as filter. Yes? Very good question. The question is, if I want to change something on any of these visualizations, do I do it from the dashboard or do I go to the worksheet? And actually, you go to the worksheet. Once you change it, if you use it in multiple dashboards, it will be reflected on all of them. And to go to the worksheet very quickly, there's a button right next to the filter. So if you select the bar chart, for example, and click on this go to sheet, it will open that worksheet. And then you can change your colors or measures or whatever it is you want. Of the filter? Yeah, let me show you again. So once you selected it as filter, if you, as a user, click on anything, so on tables, for example, you can see how the map changes according to tables. Yeah, exactly. It links all the visualizations together, which is always a very good thing to do on the dashboard because you want to display what is relevant only. So for tables, now I'm seeing, for example, just the orders for tables over here. Is there another? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. that was actually my next stop on the tour. So we have here some other objects. We have, of course, your visualizations, your worksheets, but also we've got the text, we've got the images, we've got the blank spaces, workflows, navigations, lots of options, really, download button, and containers. Containers are things that help you with formatting. So they kind of group the elements together. And horizontal or vertical, it just depends on how you stack the elements. So if you want to, for example, group two visualizations into one, then you would put a horizontal container, for instance, and then add both of those to the container. It just helps with formatting a little bit when you are, say, it's getting more advanced in Tableau. Then this can speed up your work. In the beginning, I think you might be okay without them, but in the future, this is a really good option when you're working with dashboards. Text is very self-explanatory. So if I add some text on top over here, I can name this my sales and profit dashboard. Make it a little bit bigger, change the font. And if it looks just as big as on my screen, not to worry. You can basically pre-order everything. You can make it bigger, make it smaller. So it's pretty intuitive with the formatting. Images, also self-explanatory. So if you add an image, I'm just going to add something here to show you. You can download the image to your computer and just insert it to Tableau. So I had some images at the beginning when I was introducing myself. So this is basically how I did it. So images are also a great way to make the dashboard a bit more fun, a bit more user-friendly. Blanks, they help you, again, work with the layout. Some of the other elements won't be relevant to you, like workflows related to Salesforce, actions, web page. This is what was used. Actually, well, that was a web link. Web page allows you to display any publicly accessible URL. So for example, if I go and copy my IMDb link, and you don't have to follow the steps that I'm doing right now, because I'm simply giving you a little tour. Oh, this one is forbidden. Interesting. Let me try something else. Yeah, so for example, I just added the Airbnb link to the dashboard. And you can also link some parameters in there. So that's a bit more advanced to display, for example, data about the movie that you have in the dashboard. So this is for web pages that you can add. And navigation buttons, that's if you have multiple dashboards and you want to navigate between them. So adding a button here, it will ask me to select where I'm navigating to. So which other dashboard I'm linking into. And then whether it's a text or an image. So that's also a really great way to connect the two dashboards. And then you can add your title, right? Your tooltip if you want. So that is another element. And finally, download, that just allows you to download the dashboard itself or the data in it. Data story, yeah. Data story is our presentation format. So this is, oh, actually, there are two data stories. This one, the element on the dashboard, is a natural language processing element, which does require a Tableau server. So if you're on just desktop trial, I don't think you'll be able to use that just yet, but it creates a natural language summary about your data. So it will describe basically where the sales is going up or down and what's happening to other measures. There's another data story, which is next to your dashboards. This one is a presentation format, which I don't think we have time to go through today, but basically it's just a combination of different visualizations or dashboards with specific story points. So for example, if I add this dashboard, I can add some kind of caption. So if I have tables selected, I can say tables are heavily discounted. And then you can add another story point to change it. So maybe now I don't want to select tables, I want to select the UK and Ireland. And say, but in the UK, the profits for tables look good. So now we can go through this story points, right? As you're presenting your dashboard, your data, and focus on different things. And you can combine different dashboards as well in this way. Yeah. Great question. Dashboard size. So how do you change it? What's the best size? The size is right on the left in your formatting of the dashboard. It's preset to fixed size, but you can change it to automatic. So it always fills up the screen. So I would say for presentation purposes, this is good. For production purposes, it's not the best choice always. Sometimes you want to fix it because devices can be very different. Somebody has a huge monitor, somebody has a much smaller one. So you can pick automatic for today, and you can see it filled up the screen fully for me. Or you can set it to any fixed size you want. Right, so we have here generic desktop, laptop browser, web page embedded, and other ones. Automatic, I think, would be your best bet for the competition. Yeah. How do you share your work with someone? Excellent question. So there are a few ways. You can download dashboard, the workbook itself with the dashboard. So I believe that it should be. There we go. File, export, package workbook. So it will take the data that's in it and the workbook itself and save it as this Tableau file format. So then you can send it to somebody else and they can open it in Tableau desktop as well. Now, if you have something called Tableau server or Tableau cloud, then you can simply publish it there. So it would be under server, publish workbook. It will ask you to log into the server or the cloud and then publish your dashboard. Then you can simply send somebody the link, right? And they can come to the server again and interact with the dashboard. But for the purposes of the competition, you can always just export it and send it to somebody who also has Tableau desktop to open. At the same time, you can open two separate files, but editing at the same time is not possible because you'll be overriding each other's changes. Using the server allows you to share seamlessly, but not, let's say, not editing the same workbook at the same time. No. Yeah.
So every person will be judged on his own work, or we have the same file to share.
No, I believe you will have a single file to share. What you can do to combine the changes, you can divide and conquer. So somebody works on, for example, a visualization number 1, another person works on number 2, and then you can bring it all together. So to copy and paste is actually very easy. Any worksheet that you want to paste from one workbook to another, you just right-click and then click copy. Right, so if you click copy, and then I'll open a completely new workbook and just right-click paste. So that will copy what I just did in my previous workbook. So that's how you can combine it all together if you're working on 2 workbooks separately. Any other questions? All right. I do want to spend a little bit of time just helping you choose the right visualization. So when you are analyzing data, how do you know what's the best way to present it? We have a couple of really good resources on Tableau Public. The first one is called Visual Vocabulary. And the very first question when you're looking at the data that you have to answer is, what do you want to show? Do you want to show the correlation, the ranking, the change over time, part to whole, spatial? Is it a spatial visualization? Is it magnitude? And based on that, you can select you can find the different options for visualizations. So for example, for deviation, it's all in public, by the way. So if you go to Tableau Public and just Google visual vocabulary, you'll be able to find it. So for deviation, I have all these different options: divergent bar chart, a stacked bar, spine chart. I know this ones might seem, some of them, a bit more advanced, but don't worry, I'll show you the chart catalog right after this. So here, for example, we have our scatter plot to show correlation. We have our dual axis chart to show correlation between 2 measures. We have the heat map. We have the bubbles. So all the different options that you can use. Here's where you can get some inspiration, right, for what you want to show. Bar chart is always great for ranking, right? Either it's a bar or ordered column chart. But there are other ones that are also quite interesting. So what if you find something and you want to build it, but you're not sure how? Well, we have something called the chart catalog. So these are a lot of different visualization examples that were created by Tableau community. And you can click on any of them. It will take you to that visualization. You can download it and see how it's built. Or you can just Google how to build a scatter plot in Tableau, and you will find an answer. So this is, again, if you're wondering how I did this in Tableau, I just used the web page object and just added the link to this dashboard. And this is a dashboard as well, right? So it just shows you how much Tableau can do. So these are all different options, what you can build. Don't get too carried away if you've never worked with Tableau. I think focus more on the story. That's one tip I can give you for sure, because the story is the most important part. So make sure you are communicating your why in the data, the most important points, as best as you can. Fancy visualization types are great, but they don't always win. Even at Ironwiz, it's not always the most fancy visualization that wins. Most often it's the best story and the best communicator. So that's what Tableau is all about, really. And finally, just a bit more inspiration for you of what you can show, how you can show your data. It's called Visualization Guide. I find this a bit more easy to navigate than the visual vocabulary. So this one just gives you, in a very concise way, all the different options you can use to show comparisons, to show distribution, relationship, trends, progress. And whenever there is a time element, there's a little clock right there. So just make it very easy to pick your visualization. You do have, yeah? Yes. Chart catalog, yes. Let me show you how to access them. So if you go on public.tableau.com, this is our biggest repository of everything that was built by the community. over 9 million different visualizations. And there's a search option right there on the right. If I type in chart catalog, it's the first thing that comes up. It was accessed over 250,000 times, which just tells you how popular it is. Yeah, so this is the catalog live. And if I want to see, if you want to see how it's built, I'm just clicking on this specific visualization. And this one, for example, is all about the Lewis Hamilton's F1 career. So what I can do is download it as a workbook and get it fully built. Just like this. So the same will be for the other two links. And again, they're called Visualization Guide and Visual Vocabulary. There must be others as well on public, but these are the ones that I found the most helpful. But feel free to get inspired from public. So if you come home or tomorrow, if you feel inspired, feel free to browse this. We have some really amazing visualizations here. Some of them are easier than others on all kinds of topics. We highlight some authors here as well. You can register on public after you complete the competition, of course. And use different hacks as well. So people are sharing their tips, their tricks, their KPI designs, right? So there's so much that you can build in Tableau, and you can reuse all of this great work that was already created by the members of the community. Any other questions? All right. As the very last step, I want to quickly show you how you can make it a bit more fun with custom icons and custom colors. So we have something called shapes over here in Tableau. If you select shape from the dropdown, you will be able to select a shape for your visualizations, or maybe you just want to add some kind of an icon on the dashboard and display instructions, for instance. So what I'm going to do is just double click over here, just type in 1 as a kind of a dummy value. So now we get this circle created. And instead of the circle, I'm going to click on more shapes. And here is a lot of different shapes that you can use. So we have some default ones. We have some KPI for weather, for errors. I'm going to pick one of the ones I uploaded earlier. This one. And just click OK. It's going to be really tiny, but that's fine. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger by changing it from standard to entire view. So now we have this icon. And if you're not finding this one, don't worry. You can add any icon, custom icon, to Tableau. You have to add it to the Tableau repository first. So there will be a folder where your Tableau is installed. It will be called My Tableau repository. And in there, we have the shapes folder. So this is where I can add any kind of shapes. So I have my Lego bricks, for example. I have my miscellaneous. And so once you add it here, it gets added to Tableau Desktop as well. So you can get really creative with shapes and with colors as well. So remember I was showing you the color palettes? All the colors will be in the preferences file. So what you have to do is to actually open it with some sort of editing application. So maybe it would be, yeah, that's the one I want. Maybe it would be brackets. This is the one I have, which allows you to simply edit this file. And you'll see all of your custom colors in there. So I have my color palettes here, which I've added. You'll need the color code to edit here. and give it a name and a type as well. So this is a bit more advanced if you want to add custom colors. It will be in the preferences file, and again, just on the day off, if you don't know how to do it, feel free to ask your mentors. I'm sure they'll be able to help. And then this icon can be added to any dashboard, right? So if I go over here and just add it, remove the title. So now we've got our little icon, which can display some instructions. So maybe if I want to say, you can filter the dashboard by location. You can filter the dashboard by clicking on the map. Instructions for the users. Make it a lot more user-friendly. And if I hover over here, I can see the same instructions displayed. And again, this would be in the tooltip. So going back to my icon, tooltip, this is where you can put text or numbers or some fields even. You can put lots of things in tooltip. Yep. Depends on how you want to use them, really. If you want to, for example, display an icon for every product category, then what you can do is instead of this dummy variable, I'm going to add the category. So I'm going to add this one to detail. And now you can see there are 3 different icons. Let's make them a little bit bigger. And I can actually select which one of them corresponds to, I think that would be under assignment. I think for instructions would be easier if you just created in a separate sheet, but sometimes you want to display more for a single field, and that's when you can use a field basically to display multiple icons in one. Any other questions? I think we're wrapping up here with our training. All right, if no more questions, thank you so much for coming today, for the orientation, for the workshop. I hope you got some useful input today, and good luck on the day of the Datathon. Thank you so much, everybody.
Need to add one more person and okay.
Assalamu alaikum. يعطيكم العافية. Can you guys please stay for a few minutes? I want to make a quick announcement. Just by a raise of hand, how many people doesn't have a team? كم شخص ما عنده فريق للحين؟ Okay, عادي, can you guys be in one team? بس تمام. We sent a form on Discord اسمها team formation. Can you please take a look at it? For the ones who want to change their track, you could just do it from the form. Please make sure to do it tonight. It will be easier on you. في فورم على ديسكورد اسمها team formation. وعليكم أمر عبوها إن تختاروا الأسامي بعض واسم التيم بحيث إن تسوونه حق يوم السبت. وبس والله يعطيكم العافية.
Tableau early.
So this is what we're talking about, self-paced, web-based videos.
Speak. So,
And then we have these free training videos. So this ones would be for free. We have, for example, getting started for Tableau Creator. This is what we were just doing just now. So you have here how to connect to data, how to build different types of charts, build a dashboard, mapping calculations a little bit. So this is just, let's say, very, very beginner, right? If you want a little bit more, we have our paid courses, which are for analysts, for example. So you can take the analyst learning path, and it will, like, and then you will get this badge, Tableau Analyst. And also, of course, there's YouTube. We have lots of great YouTubers, creators that are actually producing videos for Tableau. But yeah, from Tableau itself, we do have this, and this helped me a lot.
This
Went
one
through it
is
as
the
well.
same website, this one, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
if you just type in Tableau e-learning, I added free to get to this free training videos, but this would be in the like video format, self-paced, whenever you want to continue learning. But of course, it's on Udemy as well. Coursera everywhere. But I can personally recommend this one because it's by Tableau.
Another question.
Yeah.
Can I have some websites that I can get a database to train?
Very good question. Yeah. So there are a few.
Yeah.
Oh, we just wanted to have the platform showing.
I search.
There's Data World.
Yeah, okay.
This is a good one where you can download. You have to sign in here, but it's free.
Yeah.
And then you can download a lot of different data sets and Tableau itself.
This is going up.
Oh,
Right
great.
now we realize.
I wish I knew that. Yeah, so Tableau itself also has some public data sets for analysis.
Tableau